Okay, I'm sorry. And is this recording? Oh, yes, it is. So three groups, AR, ER, and IR. 75% of verbs are AR ending verbs. Wow, that's a good piece of information because it means it makes absolutely sense to make sure that you know how to conjugate AR ending verbs. Okay? Because they are the majority. Simple. Okay. Why would you expend so much mental energy trying to conjugate this little tricky IR verb that you're not going to use? You're going to use once. Okay. Um, so 75% AR, 15% ER, and 10% IR. Keep that in mind. Very useful. Very useful. Okay. Okay. Vamos a continuar. Okay. So for purpose of reviewing the information and for recording purposes, um, verbs, definition, acciones, estados o procesos situados en un tiempo determinado. ¿Sí? Verbs have persona, subject, singular, and plural. The difference in Spanish and English is that we have formal and informal. Okay? So in English, we don't have that differentiation. Okay? We have tense, again, three main tenses: present, future, and past. Okay? And we have modal, three modes. Okay? Indicative, to indicate; subjunctive, to express possibility, doubt, or desire; and imperative, to give commands. Okay. Remember that these models, they have tenses. Okay. Indicative have all tenses. Subjunctive, not all of them. And imperative has only one tense, present tense. Okay. You cannot give a command in the past. That's just absurd. Okay. Muy bien. This part, don't get scared. And this is why some students get really, really scared with verbs and verb conjugations. Um, we have, and this is for linguistic purposes, la flexión. Verbs are classified by flexión and meaning, semantics and syntax. But this is more complex. I just wanted to bring this to you so you have an idea of what they are. Regulares, irregulares, efectivos, personal. ¿Sí? What?
Can you mute
Can you
everybody?
please unmute somebody? I don't know who is. Thank you. And
It's Angelique.
And for its meaning, or from a semantic point of view, tienen transitivos. We talked about this when we went over direct and indirect objects, okay? Intransitives, copulativos, reflexivos, and auxiliares, okay? I don't gonna go over these definitions because I don't think for our purposes in this session, this is useful. It's gonna create more confusion than it's gonna really help you. You know most of these definitions. You already know what a regular verb is and irregular verb is. You probably don't know what a defective verb is, but I'll explain this to you. And impersonal, yes, that's simple. Okay, there is no person involved in the conjugation, right? Generally verbs related to weather. And this concept, transitive, intransitive, these are a little bit more complex. I explained this before, but at the end, we can quickly go over it, okay? Now, conjugation. This is what really, really is important for you as a student, okay? La conjugación de los verbos, okay? Aquí tenemos dos grupos, ¿sí? Verbos personales y verbos no personales, okay? So, personal, remember we have 3 subjects, first person, second person, third person, see? And we have 2 groups, singular and plural, okay? So, persona, primera, segunda, tercera, número, singular, plural, ¿sí? Tiempo, presente, futuro, pasado. Modo, indicativo, subjuntivo, imperativo. Is this complex? Yes, it is. Because if you think of one verb and you go persona, okay, first person, then you go número, okay, singular, then you add present tense, okay, and then you add the mode, indicative. So you need to remember a lot of things. And it can be confusing. Yes, I'm not denying this, but our purpose is to make sure that we have good techniques to remember this and not to add more anxiety and confusion to do this. Because chicos, when you're talking, you don't have time to go over this. You just have to do it automatically. You don't go like, oh, okay, I'm gonna use the indicative first person. Yeah, when you do that, you start, and that in Spanish is a killer. Why? Chicos, because we love to talk muy rápidamente. Okay. So, las formas no personales, ¿sí? No tienen desinencias, sino sufijos, no se conjugan, ¿no? Se conjugan just one third person, okay? Or infinitive can also be impersonal. When the verb is in infinitive form, there is no subject. When the subject touches the verb, immediately, okay, the verb is conjugated. Gerundio, just the form, gerund, the ing, the famous ing in English, is an impersonal, but it can have a subject. Yo estoy hablando. But the form hablando by itself has no subject. Okay. Y participio is used for the compound forms. He hablado, ¿sí? Hado is the hablado is the participle. Okay. And we have and this is important. We have 2 group of verbs, okay? Regulares, as I mentioned at the beginning of the presentation, which are the majority, like normal people, like us, like happy, normal people. Okay, these are happy, normal verbs. The majority are regular verbs in Spanish, for all tenses, for all moods, okay? So don't get intimidated by this irregular, obnoxious, troublemakers, very loud verbs, okay? That very similar to certain group of people. They are loud, they're obnoxious, they like to make noise, they like to make your life miserable. Don't let them intimidate you, please, okay? And we have defectivos. I'll explain to you what defectivos is. It's verbs that have some changes, not in all of the persons, just 1 or 2, okay? Not all of, yeah. Those are the verbos defectivos, okay? And again, do not worry about the terminology, okay? This is for professional purposes. It's not for you. You don't have to know all this terminology, okay? Muy bien. Miren, por ejemplo, en la conjugación ya más simplificada, miren cómo todo se va simplificando, ¿no? No es tan difícil, ¿no? Tenemos tres modos, indicativo, subjuntivo, imperativo, y aquí tenemos los tiempos, ¿sí? Noten que el indicativo tiene todos los tiempos, ¿sí? Subjuntivo, no todos los tiempos. Imperativo, solo un tiempo, ¿sí? Indicativo presente, verbo cantar, to sing, yo canto. Ok, muy simple. Vamos a ver estos tiempos, ¿no? Because there is a tendency, chicos, in linguistics. The native speakers is called the economy of language. Native speakers always want to make the language more simple, more easy to use, okay? And some of these tenses are not used anymore in Spanish, okay? Same thing as in English, okay? Subjunctive, for example, in English is disappearing, okay? Presente, do we use? Yes. Do you have to know this? Yes. Yes. Okay. Pretérito imperfecto is a form of the past tense. Okay. Do we use it? Yes. Okay. Pretérito simple. Okay. Yes. Futuro, cantaré. Yes. Condicional, cantaría. Yes. Okay. Tiempos compuestos, pretérito perfecto. Yes, we use it. Pretérito pluscuamperfecto. I love this name. Okay. Even in English, the pluscuamperfect. Like when I want to intimidate my students, I always say like, okay, today we're going to study the pluscuamperfect. And when I was a high school teacher, it always worked. Okay, when I mentioned the pluscuamperfect, they were like, ah, and I'll give you a test. Okay, if you misbehave, I'll give you a test on the pluscuamperfect. They were very, very quiet. Okay, pretérito anterior, this is not used in conversational Spanish. No, hube cantado, nobody uses this. Do we use in legal terms in the constitution of some? Yes, but okay. If I hear somebody using hube cantado, I will look and like, okay, are you from the 17th, 18th century? Okay. Future perfect, habré cantado. Yes, we use this. Okay. Conditional perfect, habría cantado. Yes, we use it. Okay. So this one, hube cantado, is going with the wind. Okay. Subjunctive, present tense, do we use? Yes. Pretérito imperfecto. Yes. Here's the tricky part. We have two forms.
Yeah.
Why? Because of Latin. Okay. Do you need to know both? No. If you know one, it's fine. Use the one that is more appealing to you. Okay. Do you need to understand both? Yes. Okay. But you will do it automatically. Future, cantare, nobody uses this. Okay. You can find this in the Bible, but not in the novel that is written in the year 2020. Okay. So this is gone. Pretérito perfecto subjunctive. Do we use it? Yes. Okay. And this is just woohoo. Pretérito pluscuamperfecto del subjuntivo. Ooh, this is when I want really crush a really noisy student. Like, yeah, I'll give you the pluscuamperfect of the subjunctive. Okay, like yeah, okay. Do we use it? Yes. 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 Okay. Future perfect, hubiere cantado? No. No. No, this is gone. So you don't need to remember this. Okay. Basically, you need to remember present, imperfect, uh, in the past, present perfect, and pluscuamperfect. Four tenses. Okay. For the subjunctive. Okay. And imperative, just one. That's simple. Okay. And remember, so the imperative has one person, you. Okay. Just one person. Okay. But this is the tricky part because the commander is the person talking, giving the command. But the person who's receiving the command for grammatical purposes is the subject. Okay. If I tell you, Mara, habla ahora. Okay. And give it the command, but the subject is you, Mara. Okay. And we have singular and plural. Okay. And we have, and this is the main difference in Spanish and in English, we have formal and informal. Okay. In Latin America, we don't use formal and informal for plural. We only have you guys, okay, okay, ustedes, that's it. But in Spanish, in Spain, they have ustedes and vosotros, and that's a little bit tricky. Again, you don't have to use the vosotros form because in Latin America, including in the United States, we don't use it. Okay, and again, it goes by numbers, chicos. There are over 500 million native speakers, Spanish native speakers. Okay, 460 are from Latin America and the United States. Spain is only 60, about 65 million speakers. So why would you bother to learn the vosotros form? It's good to know, but you don't have to. Remember, you don't have to, unless you're living there. Okay, and even when I go to Spain, I don't use the vosotros form when I talk to my friends in Spain. So, and they know it. It's fine. It's completely fine. Yeah, probably Bonnie knows the vosotros. She lived there, but yeah,
I had to learn it. Yeah.
Yeah. But technically, you don't have to. Okay. Muy bien. Los verbos regulares. See this simple definition, chicos. The conjugation is normal. Okay. You have the root. Okay. La palabra matriz. Okay. And you had the ending. Okay. And again, these are three groups. See, AR, ER, and AR. Okay. Remember, mood and tenses. Remember that, mood and tenses. Okay. When you are a beginner student, you live in the present tense. Okay. And you live in the indicative. Okay. It is okay. It is okay. Don't try to rush it. You know, and then, oh, I want to learn the subjunctive because well, that's the problem with adults. We want to learn so much and we don't like not knowing, but it's just a matter of time. Okay, when it's ready, when you're ready, you can start using it. And again, remember, it's not the conjugation is not the problem. You can memorize the conjugation, but then using it in real context is the problem because with the subjunctive, you have more complex sentences. Okay, it's not the conjugation. You can memorize the conjugation, but it's not gonna help you talk better. Okay, so we're gonna see this. Okay, look how simple and straightforward the Spanish language is. Okay, el verbo hablar. Okay, and again, if we know that 75 of these guys belong to this group, what do you have to do? Well, learn these conjugations, master the present tense. You know, it's like mindfulness, like, oh, I want to live in the present tense. Okay, yeah, okay. Once you master this, then things are gonna be easier. Okay. And notice how the endings are not that complex. It's not as scary as they might look. Hablo, hablas, habla, third person, they have the same ending. Hmm? So you need to remember o, as, a, amos, ais, if you want to learn the vosotros form in Spain. Oops, sorry. And third person plural, ang. So, wait a second. You mean to say all I need to remember is o, as, a, amos, ais, an? Yes. 75% of these verbs are belong to this category. Okay. Wow, that's simple. Okay. Let's do an exercise. Think of a verb. Okay. I need a volunteer. Think of an AR verb. Mara.
Dar,
Dar.
dar,
Sí.
cantar,
¿Ah?
cantar,
Cantar. Cantar. See? You keep the root. Canto. Cantas. Canta. Cantamos. Cantáis. Cantan. Simple. ¿Sí? Trabajar. Same thing. Trabajo. Trabajas. Trabaja. Trabajamos. Trabajáis. Trabajan. Sencillo. How long will it take for you to learn this? Chicos, depende. Muy fácil. Sí, la verdad. Muy fácil. Okay. And then you know that any regular verb in the present tense belongs, AR belongs here. Okay. Now ER, same ending. Same ending. Okay. See. So tú comes, él come, ella come, usted come, comemos, coméis, come. See? Think of ER ending verb. Marianne?
Leer.
Leer. Sí. Leo, lees, lee, leemos, leéis, leen. Bingo. Okay. And I'm gonna share a piece of information with you that this is really interesting. How Spanish speakers learn these conjugations. They don't do that tedious job that you do, like spend hours and hours and hours and torture yourself going there, the conjugations and write it down. And I think it's a little bit masochistic, it's grammar. I call it grammar masochism. Like go over and no, kids take one and they just apply it and they create a pattern. They're like, they see a new one. Okay, that's it. That's it. Okay. They don't go over and over and over. And yeah. Well, you do the same. The thing is that it can create overgeneralization. And that's why you hear kids saying, yo gusto, okay, en vez de me gusta. Okay, but again, that's an exception. But they have learned so many verbs already that are regular. And that's good. Okay. If we have one verb that they don't know how to conjugate, it's fine. And that's the difference, chicos, because we get positive reinforcement from adults, from the language community. When a kid makes a mistake, we laugh and like, oh, that's so funny. Oh, that's so cute. I love it. Oh, he said, oh, yo gusto. Oh. Yeah, but when an adult says yo gusto after taking Spanish for 6 months, the teacher goes like, how many times have I told you that, it's not yo gusto? Okay. And then they're like, oh, I'm sorry. Okay. Yeah. We don't get positive reinforcement for making mistakes. We get punished, okay, and severely. Okay, and vivir, again, same ending. And here is the wonderful thing. Chicos, it's the same conjugation as ER. Vivir, tú vives. Él vive. Oh, here's a little change. Oh, vivimos. Instead of you have I. Oh, fantastic. Okay. Oh, here's another little change. Okay. But then the rest is the same. So how many really hard work you have to do here? Not that much. And we're talking about 75% of verbs, 15 and 10% and present tense. And we talk most of the time in present tense. Okay. So bingo, that's it. Datos curiosos. Según el foro del Centro Virtual Cervantes, last night I was doing some research and I found like, okay, because I wanted to make sure that how many verbs do we have in Spanish? Okay. And this guy did a wonderful research and he said like, there are like 6,800 in the language standard. Okay. Plus 6,100 in very sophisticated language, scientific language, professional, and technological. Do you need to know this? No. So you need to know 6,800 lengua standard? Maybe not, because we only use, out of this 600 and 900, you need to look for the high frequency verbs. There are probably 300, chicos, to be quite honest with you. I have prepared a list for you of 100, the most common verbs in Spanish, 100. And I think that's more than enough. Okay. But those are verbs that repeat all the time, that we use all the time. Okay. So it makes perfect sense to master those high frequency verbs. Forget about this, like verb that is very well sophisticated, but it doesn't have any real meaning. Okay. When you having informal conversation with your friends. Okay. And remind me of the list of verbs. Sorry, because I had the list for you of the 100 most common verbs in Spanish. Okay. Muy bien. Verbos irregulares. Okay. Again, we have spoken about this. These are normal, irregular, common verbs that have a variation in the root. Okay. The most common, the king of all the irregular verbs, okay, is ser. But the thing is that, well, it's a very useful verb. You're learning in Spanish one, the first day of class. Okay. Yo soy, tú eres, él es, nosotros somos, vosotros sois, ellos son. And here, this is really interesting. And chicos, you can make your own charts, okay? You can be creative and remember these irregularities because we have verbos botas, dormir. In Spanish, we have these changes of vowels, okay? Or changes UE, dormir, duermo, see? See the change in the root here, okay? But the ending is the same. So it's an IR verb, okay? But the change is here in the root, okay? Okay. But this person, nosotros, doesn't change, okay? There's no change here. Oh, okay. Other verbs in this group, poder, volver, encontrar, almorzar, costar, okay? Volver, vuelvo, vuelves, vuelve, okay? But again, when you do this, make your own charts, make it fun, try to do it. Don't overthink about this. Don't think that it's too hard. No, it's not too hard, believe me. Okay. Querer, see, changes to quiero. Okay. Quieres, quiere, queremos, queréis, quieren. Lo mismo, same thing. There's no change here. Nosotros and vosotros. Other verbs in this category, sentir, preferir, pensar, comenzar, cerrar. Okay. Pedir, ¿sí? Changes to E, changes to I. Pido, pides, pide. Pedimos, pedís, piden. See? You probably have learned this, okay, at this point. Okay. It's good to review this. Yes, it is. Other verbs similar to this: repetir, reír, vestir, competir. Fantastic. Okay. And once you have a group, chicos, enough verbs for you to have a conversation, that's it. If there is a new verb, you will learn it. You will just learn it in context when you're talking to a native speaker. And the brain will automatically have a red flag like, oh, another irregular. Okay, and you just incorporate it. And it's like, oh, okay, it's just one of those. Okay, which category? This one. Okay, fantastic. That's it. Okay. Instead of what adults do is that they want to know everything before they talk. I want to make sure that I know everything, every single irregular verb that is out there. Okay, because I don't want to make a fool of myself. Okay, guys, don't be so harsh on yourselves. Okay, it is okay to make a mistake when you're learning a language. It's actually really healthy. It's helpful. The native speaker will give you the right conjugation, and you would learn it intuitively. And believe me, the brain has this way of knowing, like, oh, another verb here. Okay. Verbos sombreros. Okay. There is conjugation. I mean, changes just in the first person. Okay. Poner, pongo, and then the rest are just regular. It's an ER ending verb. Okay. Pones, pone, ponemos, ponéis, ponen. Hacer, salir, hacer, hago. Very useful. Okay. You need to know this. Okay. Uh, uh, these are verbs that change in, there is a consonant change. Okay. Here are verbs that have vowel, changing vowel. Okay. Here consonants. Okay. Conducir, conduzco. Okay. Estar, estoy, hoy. Okay. Verbos, bota y sombrero, tener, ¿sí? Change in the first uh, person, but also in the other uh, persons. Okay, decir, venir, other verbs, elegir, seguir, perseguir, and these are completely irregular. See, like yeah, ser, but since it's a very useful verb, you learn it. Okay, you learn it from the Spanish one. Ir, another irregular verb, and it is, these verbs present irregularities in different tenses. Okay, that's why these verbs are obnoxious. That's why they make your life complicated because they only have irregularities in one tense. No, they're having other tenses as well. Okay, muy bien. Datos curiosos. This is a lot of information, but just I wanted to share with you, this guy was doing a research on how kids, native speakers, learn Spanish verbs. Okay, and he did this very interesting research that los verbos are, again, something that I already told you, son los más frecuentes, no? And also they are the most regular. Oh, that's good news. Oh, I call them the friendly verbs. Okay, whoa, they're regular and they are the most common. Well, like my friends. Okay, so okay, present tense. Okay, uh, los verbos er and ir son menos frecuentes. Okay, sí. But also, and here's the tricky part, they are less frequent, but they have more irregularities. Troublemakers. Okay. Sí. Sí. And I want to share briefly, this with you. Okay. I'll also share this website. And this is the beauty of technology. Okay. Why do I have to learn all these conjugations when I have a program that does it for me? Okay. Woohoo. Comprar. Since we are Americans, you know, we live in America. This is one of the most favorite verbs. Woo! Comprar. Ta-da! Okay. Oh, look. Formas no personales. Comprar, comprando, comprado. Haber comprado, habiendo comprado. Present tense, indicative. Oh, Dios mío.
We're not
Esto
seeing
es
it,
como
Jorge.
magia. Okay. ¿Sí?
No
Pretérito
le veo.
indefinido. Futuro. Condicional. I don't have to remember this. Woo-hoo-hoo. Yeah, but
Jorge,
you don't have to. You will have to when you're speaking, but it will make your life a lot easier. Why? Because
no lo veo la
don't know the
page.
verb, you can come here, look at the conjugation, make a chart, learn it, and make sure that you have it in your head. Okay? Because when you're
No,
talking, you
Oh,
want to
Jorge,
know
we
what
don't see the
Jorge.
page you're on.
okay? Subjunctive. Okay, and they're using here just 3 tenses.
Jorge,
Okay.
Jorge,
Yes.
we're not seeing the page.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Let me. Okay, I'm sorry. So I'll do it one more time. No, comprar.
There we go. We can see it now.
Gracias.
Okay. And I'm using comprar because we live in the United States. This is a very important verb, chicos. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. See?
Oh my God.
Formas no personales, tiempos. Now we know there are 3 groups, 3 modes, 3 tenses. Okay. Oh, tiempos simples, indicativo. Ajá. Sí. Subjuntivo. Ajá. Imperativo. Compra tú. Okay. Cómprame. Sí. I love that. Cómprame. Cómprame un libro. Cómprame. Okay. Compre usted, if you want to be formal. Okay. Tiempos compuestos. ¿Sí? Indicativo, subjuntivo. Okay. There are no compound tenses for the command, right? That's it. Okay. Muy fácil. Do they have all the verbs? They have, chicos, almost every one of those 6,000 whatever verbs out there. They have it here. Okay. So you can put, see, asusar, which is a verb that I love. Okay. Ooh. Okay. And this is a $50, no, I would say $100 verb for instigate. And you know what I mean, right? Okay. Asuso, asusas, él asusa a las masas, okay? Okay, él asusó. I want to know the past tense, okay? Oh, asusó. Oh, nice. But make it interesting. Play with this, like, yeah. But don't make it that it's hard work, okay? So now let me go back to my presentation, okay? Verbos defectivos are those verbs who have a very defect. They have a little irregularity, but not all in all of the persons. And they're not that very famous. I'm sorry. There are just a few out there. And most of them are impersonal verbs related to weather, como llover, nevar.
Jorge, we can't see the presentation.
Oh, sorry. Thanks for letting me know.
Yeah.
Okay. Oops. Okay, let me go back. Let me go. Okay. Can you see now?
Mhm.
Gracias.
Yes.
Gracias. Okay. Okay, so again, defective eh, verbs that have some type of irregularity. Okay. Not in all tenses, not in all persons. As like I was mentioning that are verbs, the majority are, they're not that popular, okay, but most of them are impersonal verbs related to weather, like nevar, nieva, see, llover, llueve. Even native speakers make mistakes with these verbs. So feel happy that you you can make your uh, you can make some mistakes. No? Concebir, acontecer, ujú, ah, etcétera. Muy bien. Un dato curioso, aquí tienen una página web, I will share this with you, uh, with an explanation, mostly technical, but it will give you a list of defective verbs that you can, explore, and yeah, and you can probably do both. Use one verb and go to the conjugator, that web page that I show you, and you know, conjugate, play like whoo. Yeah, if you want to impress your friends or your Spanish teacher, use the verb asusar. Use past tense like whoo. Yeah, and yeah, you will really impress the heck out of your teacher. Like, wow, how did you learn that? Muy bien. Okay, now I'm gonna share some tips with you because this is important that you make some useful uh, take advantage of this presentation. Less is more. Okay, this is in contradiction to our capitalist society that more is better, more. In linguistic terms, less is more. Why? Because you are mastering the verbs. Remember, little kids don't say too much until they're 3 years old. But once they learn that, there is something called a language explosion. Boom. Okay. Some adults never reach that level, unfortunately. Why? Because they keep blocking themselves, over analyzing or thinking, say sabotaging. Like, yeah, they don't let this language explosion to happen. Okay, so master the verbs that are important. Master the high frequency verbs. Learn present tense first. Okay, then learn, like past tense, then learn future tense. Don't try to learn all at once. If you're a beginner, forget about knowing the subjunctive. Okay, it will come naturally. Okay, I know you very eager to learn and use, to have a philosophical discussion about the future of the United States, but unfortunately, okay, you're not ready yet. Okay, even in English. Okay. Don't get lost in translation. I tell all my students, do not translate. Okay. Because translation does something really bad for you. It gives you the illusion of learning. This is a pedagogical term, the delusion of learning. You think that because you translate it, you know it. No, I'm sorry. In linguistic terms, it's called the word recognition. It's like turning the lights on. Pew! You see it, like, oh, okay, and then it turns it off. It doesn't go to long-term memory. Okay, and then you keep this list and you combine that with the other illusion of learning, writing. If I write it down, I swear to my dear God that I'm gonna remember it. Well, it's in your notebook, but it's not in your long-term memory. I'm sorry. Chicos, I've been doing this for more than 15 years. I know this as a fact. I'm not inventing this. I see it every day. Okay. So uh, don't use it, reside in, yeah, but don't make those long lists of translations. They don't work. Okay. You want to know the meaning of asusar? Fine. Use the English translation. Yeah, okay. Get comfortable, but then go back and try to use it in real context. Okay. There are some words, for example, that they must be translated because they're very abstract. No, aunque. How do you? Well, wow. You need to know what it means. Yeah. But those are very few words. I'm not saying don't translate never ever. I said don't use translation as a technique for learning because it is not. Okay. Um, and again, it will kill you fluency. Okay. Because when you're talking, you got and my students do that all the time. Because they're thinking. And with all the information you need to remember, pew, and with the fact that Spanish is really fast, okay. Muy bien. Número 3. Don't even think of getting it right. Adults want to get it right all the time. Okay. I want to get the right conjugation. I don't want to make fool of myself. I don't, yeah. That is no learning, chicos. If you already know it, there is no learning happening. Okay. Um, uh, Getting it right puts a lot of pressure on you. Okay. And this is a book that I highly recommend. Okay. The Inner Game of Tennis. Okay. And I'll give you a passage. It's really interesting, even though it's related to tennis, but it explains what happens when you want to get it right. It says, when one competes to prove oneself, it is because the person is insecure and have self-doubts. Okay. Um, that create a problem because you become too self-conscious. Okay. And that kills spontaneity, fluency, and kills learning. Remember, you learn from the other person. When you're talking to a native speaker, you're learning from them. They will give you the right conjugation and you will like take it. Okay. You will naturally incorporate it to your lexicon. Okay. Stop your obsession about your high school Spanish. What is it high school Spanish? Grammar, structure, okay, verb conjugations. Chicos, 2120 and most of the schools, they're still using the grammar approach, which was used hundreds of years ago to translate all those texts from the Bible or from from Latin, but not for learning how to speak. Okay, so and that is hard because for me as a teacher, I had to make sure that the students unlearn these habits, these bad habits, and that is hard. Okay, because you keep doing that, even though they're not effective, you keep doing that, memorizing, having a list of words, using grammar, thinking that, oh, if I always hear this from my students, if I knew the imperfect, then I will be fluent. If I knew the subjunctive, Jorge, I'm pretty sure, yeah, I'll be better than a Cuban, you know. I was like, okay, really? Okay. That's when my pluscuamperfect trick comes out. It's like, okay, give me the conjugation of the pluscuamperfect, you know, like in the subjunctive. And I go, I'm sorry. Okay. And finally, think outside the box. Learn intuitively. Okay. Language is a beautiful way to communicate between human beings. What you really want, chicos, is to have human connection. Yeah? Don't get obsessed about the grammar. Don't think that if you don't conjugate a verb perfectly, the other person is going to hate you. No. Fortunately, in Spanish, we're very friendly and we love people who want to learn Spanish, and we welcome them and we celebrate them. And it's like, oh, I always hear this from my students. They're like, Jorge, they come so happy to me. Oh, I was riding the taxi and this guy from Colombia started talking to him. He turned around, he gave me a big smile, and suddenly he was so friendly. Yeah, they get better service. You know, they when they use the language because you are communicating with them. But don't do what some of my students do back. I call it BC, before COVID, when life was sort of normal. Okay, they go to a restaurant and they want to practice Spanish with the waiter or the waitress who is so busy, has 100 customers, and like, oh, I want to. They're like, come on. I mean, like, and they come to me and complain, like, oh, they don't like me. Like, it's not that they don't like you, they're busy. You know, like, sorry. Yeah. Make sure that you use it in a social context that is appropriate. Okay. Muy bien. Questions and answers, chicos. And open. English, Spanish, Russian, whatever, German, whatever language we want to use. Let's see who is the.
I have a question.
Okay, Diana.
¿Podemos recibir las notas?
Puedes recibir, oh, un momentito, puedes recibir el, déjame ver un momentito. Puedes recibir el, la lista de verbos, déjame ver un momentito. Te mando ahora mismo. Ok. Un momentito.
Y muchas gracias.
The Diana, I recorded this, so you will get the video.
Perfecto, gracias.
Muy bien. ¿Más preguntas?
La lista de 100 verbos.
Okay, I'm looking for it right now. Give me just 1 second. Let me see if I can find it. Okay. ¿Alguien más? ¿Otra pregunta?
Una pregunta.
Sí.
Me gusta mucho expresión never look for the cat's fuse leg. En español.
Gracias. That comes from my grandmother. Okay. Ecuadorian, yeah. Okay. Gracias. ¿Más preguntas? I'm looking for 1 second, looking for the.
Pero, ¿cómo se dice en español?
No le busques la quinta pata al gato. I write it for you on the chat. Okay, let me just get
Gracias.
No le busques la quinta pata al gato. Okay. Verbos. Okay. ¿Más preguntas, chicos? I'll send you another one.
¿Y cuál es la intención de del idioma?
¿Perdona?
¿Qué es meaning, la significa del idioma de la quinta pactos?
¿Otra vez, perdona? Sí.
The idiom that you were just using about something that
Oh, la expresión idiomática, sí.
idioma.
No le busques la quinta pata al gato. Ujú.
And what kind of situation would you use that in?
¿Perdona?
¿Qué situación usar la expresión idiomática?
Oh, en un contexto como no pienses demasiado, ¿no? No busques por, no hagas las cosas complicadas. Sí. Sí. Ujú.
It's
Keep
like,
it
don't
simple.
overthink it, right?
Sí. Ujú, ujú.
Don't
Quedarse
overthink
simple.
it.
Exactamente. Ujú. Muy bien. Sí. ¿Más preguntas? Sí.
Can we have, is it possible that you send us, I really like the one with the verbos botas and verbos sombreros.